This is Mac OS Ken.
Morgan Stanley sees ups and downs for Apple. New rounds of betas are out. And Beats Studio Buds Plus go cosmic. It is Wednesday, the 23rd of August, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. Remember the talk on Apple's most recent earnings call about growth for iPhone and services? Morgan Stanley analyst Eric Woodring is buying it. Apple 3.0 ran a couple of parts of either a note he wrote or a couple of notes he wrote on Tuesday. Whichever the case, it was 2 posts. On the phone, the news is not catastrophic, though it could spell trouble for Apple in the current quarter. According to the first post, Woodring and friends do see production issues for the high end of the iPhone 15 line. As keeps being rumored, Morgan Stanley's Greater China tech hardware team continues to see a 3 to 4 week delay in iPhone 15 Pro Max production. That is said to be due to delays getting Sony's CMOS image sensors. That has the firm expecting Apple to build 49 million iPhones this quarter. That's 21 million in the iPhone 15 line and 28 million legacy builds. That 49 million also represents a 2% decline in builds versus this quarter a year ago. Now for the rest of the year, things look better. Ish. The note says the team continues to expect 90 million iPhone 15 builds in the second half of calendar year 23. That's up 10% versus the second half of 2022, though the piece points out the uptick is a result of Apple's well-known iPhone production shortfalls last November and December. As for the services post, those are looking pretty stellar. Based on info from Sensor Tower, Woodring says he and his think App Store net revenue is growing 10% year-on-year based on numbers for the first half of August. For that short time, App Store revenue for China was up an estimated 5%, Japan was up an estimated 4%, the US was up an estimated 8%, with the rest of the world up an estimated 21%. Drilling down, the good news gets better. According to the note, gaming growth has continued to accelerate, rising from up 2% year-over-year in June to up 4% year-over-year in July to up 6% year-over-year from the start of August to the middle of the month. Kind of a big deal, since gaming makes up 60% of App Store net revenue, according to the note. All of that has Woodring thinking that his firm may have been a bit conservative on growth expectations for services this quarter. Quoting his note, with year-on-year App Store growth accelerating in 4 of the last 5 months and year-on-year compares in September similar to August, we believe it's likely the App Store tracks ahead of our September quarter forecast, further supporting our up 14% year-on-year September quarter services growth forecast, ahead of consensus at 11%. We view a return to mid-teen services growth as an important proof point to dispel bear fears that services have become a single-digit grower post-COVID. Finally, Woodring did address Mac and iPad expectations. Looks like they're going to stink, as Apple execs said they would on the June quarter earnings call. Referencing his note one more time, for the iPad, our Greater China hardware team recently reduced September quarter iPad builds from 15.5 million units to 13.5 million, down 25% year-on-year. They also cited a slower MacBook production ramp due to weaker demand. This is in line with the firm's expectations and Apple's guidance for iPad and Mac revenue to be down double digits in the September quarter. 80% of the calendar third quarter guide down was driven by iPad and Mac. While not ideal, none of that turns the analyst off where Apple is concerned. Woodring has a positive rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $215. Apple has seeded the 7th betas of iOS and iPadOS 17 to developers. Same goes for the 6th beta of macOS 14 Sonoma, the 7th beta of watchOS 10, and the 7th beta of tvOS 10, according to a few pieces from Mac Rumors. Public testers, keep your eyes peeled and your ears open. Wait, hold the phone, scratch that. Mere minutes after I wrote up those releases Tuesday afternoon, Apple Insider hit with a piece saying the public testing peeps had hot newness to play with as well. According to that site, participants in Apple's public testing program now have access to the 5th public betas of iOS, iPadOS, and tvOS 17, watchOS 10, and macOS 14. Folks wanting in on that action can take part at beta.apple.com. From eyeing the future to maintaining the now, what is likely the last big-ish update to Ventura is also out to the dev types. Another piece from Mac Rumors says the Cupertino company has seeded a release candidate for macOS Ventura 13.6 to members of its developer program. Nothing flashy for users in this one. Mac Rumor says macOS Ventura 13.6 is a security fix update and does not appear to include any new features. Apple has also seeded a macOS Monterey 12.7 beta for people who are unable to update to macOS Ventura. The question now, will macOS Sonoma release with iOS 17 and the rest, or will it trail a few weeks behind? Whatever the case, it is somewhere between possible and probable that macOS 13.6 will be the last big-ish update for Ventura. Tap to Pay has made its way to another country. Apple Insider says Apple has activated the secure contactless payment system for the Netherlands. You likely know what Tap to Pay is, though, just in case. The report says Tap to Pay works just the same as Apple Pay does. Instead of holding an iPhone next to a merchant's card reader, though, they can hold it against another iPhone. Citing a report from iCulture.ni, Apple Insider says 2 firms support the system currently. One is the payment platform Adyen, while the other is the card reader seller SumUp. More are expected to follow shortly. The report says most of the country's primary payment platforms are expected to adopt Tap to Pay soon. They're said by the piece to include Rabobank, Clearly, Revolut, Stripe, and MyPOS, which is never not funny to say. Currently left out of the mix, Apple's own retail locations. The iCulture piece says it should go live there in the coming weeks. Interestingly, almost the exact same thing happened last month when Apple activated Tap to Pay in the UK. A piece from Mac Rumors had the service launching with 2 supporting platforms. It also had a number expected to follow soon, including MyPOS. And while Tap to Pay was not live in Apple's own stores, it was expected to roll out to Apple Store locations in the UK in the few weeks following. Apple's audio identification app Shazam wants to get all up on your lock screen. Mac Rumors says the Cupertino company updated the app to version 15.38 on Tuesday. Good for iPhone or iPad. The only change seems to be the addition of 2 new widgets for an associated device's lock screen. According to the app's release notes, the smaller widget lets users identify songs directly from the lock screen. Meanwhile, the wider widget is almost like a reminder, simply displaying the last song a user identified. The Shazam app is free. The updated version is available now in the App Store. And finally today, Beats Studio Buds Plus are about to become cosmic things. 9to5Mac has word of 2 new hues for the stoppers. The metallic colors Cosmic Pink and Cosmic Silver will will join the ivory, black, and transparent versions that came out back in May. Beats has done a number of cross-branded tie-ins with its earbuds and headphones, and this is another one of those. The report says the new offerings hit in conjunction with the nail polish and press-on maker Olive & June. That company's got new finishes that it says are inspired by the hardware and sound experience of Beats Studio Buds Plus. The new nail products will hit Wednesday, the 6th of September. As for the noisemakers, with the exception of the new looks, they're standard Beats Studio Buds Plus. Those include active noise cancellation, transparency mode, and improved battery life over old Beats earbuds. Both the new and old colors will run buyers $169.99. Pairs in Cosmic Silver will be available through Amazon, Apple, Best Buy, Target, and Walmart. Cosmic Pink is a bit more exclusive. Pairs of those will only be available through Apple and Target. Both of the new colors go on sale on Thursday, the 7th of September. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.